Many of us right now, we have a talent. There's something we want to do. For many of us, maybe you're working for majority of us really working in the health sector, maybe as support workers, and you're looking to transition. You want to make a transition. You want to get into a career path where you can see progression. That is what we are here to help you accomplish. That is why we keep talking about dreams and how we make dreams come true. And of course, we do this in several programs, from data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile project management, cybersecurity, DevOps engineering, product design. We do all of this. So the focus for today is going to be on Power BI, which is one of the tools that you get to learn in the data analytics program. But moving on. The case study, moving on, and of course, yes, about me, just in case this is the first time you're hearing me speak, I'm Aisha Bulaho, and I'm an operations leader and operations and executions expert, and of course, currently the head of learning strategy and operations at Analytics. So I have experience from different tech stack, and I've been able to work across different countries, including the US, the UK, Australia as well, around different industries. I've worked as a consultant, worked in fintech, and also in edtech as well. As you can see, I've also worked in hospitality. That's with Bed Dog Hospitality in the US, South Dakota in the US, one of the largest hospitality firms that manage a large suite of hotels in the Midwest, Western region of the US. And I also have some little interest of mine. One of them being partnering with Carla Palmer in Canada, helping to bring together what we now call the Canadian women in sports, right? Where we try to get more women interested, or get the public, the Canadian public mostly, more interested in women's sports. And the focus starting with ice hockey. So you could also check that out later on. But we're not here to look at my face, right? But rather we're here for something even equally important. And that is what? That is the case study. So what we worked on last week and what we're going to continue this week is we're going to be looking at a case study how Sarah was able to transition from being a support worker to a health data analyst. And you guys should remember that at the end, I did mention something. I said, you are Sarah. For many of the guys that just joined us today, you were not here last week, you might not really understand what I mean by you are Sarah. So in the next 3 minutes, I'll try to give us that rundown. Then we get into the main business for the day. So the background. Who is Sarah? Sarah is a dedicated healthcare support worker, and she works at an assisted living facility. And over the past several months, a care home has managed exactly 1,000 patient treatments. So Sarah is fantastic at her job. She's very diligent. She has been meticulously logging the patient's details, that's their medications, if they're having side effects, all of those things. So Sarah is amazing. All our patients love her. Okay. Now, what did Sarah notice? This is the problem. Sarah noticed something. Sarah noticed that a shift. Sarah noticed that in a shift, certain patients seem to experience different kind of conditions. So when she's on shift, she noticed that patient A that has the same condition as patient B, that is placed on the same kind of medication as patient B, is having side effects that patient B is not having. And this is quite concerning. And so she wanted to ensure that in the next monthly performance and care review that she's going to provide all of the data that she has stored, all of the data that she has noted down, that she was going to send this over to our supervisor. So our supervisor can take a look at it and say, oh, yeah, this is what we have a problem here, is aware of the situation, and they can ensure that every patient is getting the absolute best care. But that is the problem. The problem, which is marked as a solution, is that Sarah cannot just present that data to a supervisor. Why? Because she knows that the supervisor is very, very busy and that they would not have time to read through the documentation. So instead, Sarah wants to go ahead to analyze the data, to present the data in a way that would ensure that our supervisors will get the point she's trying to make. All of this, what Sarah is trying to do now is, the objectives. But first and first, this is where you as Sarah comes in. So you are Sarah in this situation. For many of us right now on the call, we can relate to Sarah. For some of us, maybe you're working in the health care sectors. For some of us, maybe you're working, say, in the warehouse or whatever the case may be. So you are in this situation where probably been taking data, just like Sarah, keeping data on your patients, and thank you very much, Matthew, right? So you've been taking data of your patients. A patient A takes their drugs at 2 a.m., patient B takes their drugs at 2 p.m., at 4 a.m., at 5 p.m., all of that data. And you also store on your notes or on your sheets that patient A faces these situations or faces this has this side effects after taking this medication. Maybe they are nauseous, maybe they are always tired, maybe their blood pressure is low, all of those things. So you as Sarah, you want to present this data to your supervisor, but you don't just want to send the sheets, but rather you want to do 4 things. What do you want to do? The first thing you want to do is that you want to provide a big picture. You don't just want to send the sheets. You want your supervisor to be able to see the big picture. That is exactly how many patients you are monitoring and the overall average recovery score. The way if patients are recovering or not based on the data, and then the highlighting major complaints, because this again is the reason why you want to present this data to your supervisor, because you've noticed something that you feel should be raised, right? So you want to demonstrate to your supervisor that nausea is a significant issue. It's a very big issue with your patients. Many of them become nauseous when they take a certain medication. So this is particularly for patients receiving treatment for infections and pain relief. That's the second objective. The third thing you're trying to accomplish is that you want to also showcase the treatment successes. You want to prove which medications are delivering the highest patient satisfaction. An example, you want to show that insulin glargine is yielding a fantastic 7.2 average improvement score for diabetic patients. You want to show that. And finally, you want to also utilize interactive insights. You want to be able to click. You want to be able to show your supervisor something where you click on a filter, an hypertension filter, for instance, and during the meeting you have with your supervisor or a call, and you're instantly able to show your supervisor that dizziness is the leading side effect for blood pressure patients, allowing them to adjust patient care plans immediately. This is what you want to do. And I tell you guys right now, after this session, one of the others, we are now seen as someone that is actually speaking with data, and then conversations will begin. Conversations around, instead of you being a support worker, we need you to handle all of the data of this department, of this living facility. We want you to take all of the data from each and every one of the support workers. And we want you to be creating a presentation for us every week so we understand the state of each and every one of our patients at every single point in time. What I just said is not fluff. Do this, and I can tell you that you are going to find my email, and you're going to send me an email saying, "Oh, Aisha said," and you can find my email at the there. You send me an email and say, "Aisha said, what you thought, I implemented it at work, and this is how my story has changed." To show you guys what we are trying to build, this is the end product. So you see, Sarah has been able, or Sarah will be able to convert that sheet, all of those metrics that she had into a dashboard that she can easily present to her supervisor. So you're showing the supervisor, oh, you can see that nausea, currently 167 cases. You can filter. This is the end goal. This is the end goal. And to show us again what this end goal looks like, to show us what it looks like live, this is what it looks like live. So you notice that with this, you are able to carry out any, I'm going to collapse this, but you're able to filter. You have your different drugs. Maybe you want to check data for patients that are currently taking amlodipine. So you can click on amlodipine everything filters. You can see the recurrent side effects for patients that are on amlodipine. You can see that 29 patients taking amlodipine are always fatigued. You have 27 that are dizzy. You have 18 that experience swelling, maybe in one part of their body or another. You can also see the average improvement score, 6.83. That's the improvement rate of your patients that are taking amlodipine is 6.83, meaning you have around 4 point something that is not really, that improvement is not so, it's not so great. All of that data. You also see the average treatment duration, how long they've been on that treatment. So you have all of this data. This is what you would now be presenting to your supervisor, being able to check. Oh, you want to check data for depression. What's going on with the patients that are depressed? This is the end goal. So no more talk. Let's continue from where we stopped last week. Last week, we stopped here. We stopped here last week. So what we're able to do is we did fantastically well. We learned about ETL, how to extract, transform, and load data. We didn't just learn about it. We went ahead to implement it, which is actually it's the most exciting part of the session. We are not just hearing, we are actually doing. So we implemented that. We extracted our data, we transformed it, and then we loaded. We added a column, an age column, where we could see the various, an age group column where we could categorize the various ages. And we're able to build a very first visual. And we also learned how to filter our visuals to show us the top 10 side effects by patients. Now that we've been able to do that, let's move on. Are we ready to go? Can I move on? Give me a thumbs up if you know you're with me. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you, Diego. Okay, great, fantastic. We're together. So let's get into it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is that we want to see data. Want to see data for, say, maybe the gender distribution, for instance. Okay, the gender distribution, the various people that you that you treat as your patients. Okay, so you want to take a look at that, because maybe some of those drugs it affects different different sexes based on their physiology or whatever the case may be. So we also want to check that out. So what are we going to do? We're going to insert, this time we're going to use a donut chart. A donut chart. You might be wondering, why a donut chart? I'll tell you. But first and first, let's select our donut chart. Now, where can you find your donut chart? You can find your donut chart under the build segments, the build panel. For some of you, you might not see build, you might see visualizations. So it might be called visualizations, it might be called build, but you just want to find these visuals. And then we're going to go ahead and click on donut chart. So donut chart is like a pie chart, but it has a cycle in the middle, like a donut. So we'll select the donut chart, and then we have this donut. Now, for some of you, you might make a mistake where you do something like this. Okay? So if you make this mistake, just use Ctrl Z. Click on Ctrl in the keyboard and Z to take it back. So before you insert your donut chart, you want to ensure that you are not selecting your previous visual. So before inserting any visual to your dashboard, to your canvas, you want to click outside that visual, click on an empty space. By clicking on an empty space, you are deselecting. After deselecting, then you go ahead to select your donut chart. First and first, you have to deselect. Then you can go ahead to what? You can go ahead to select your donut chart. We've selected our donut chart. So I'm going to bring this over here. And then I'm going to populate the visual. What do I want to see? I want to check out, say, the distribution, the gender distribution within the assisted living facility. That's what I want to do. And what would I do to get that done? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my data panel where I have this data. I'm going to open up this data where I have real drug data sets. I click on the drop down to ensure I expand it. So now that it's expanded, I'm going to search for the gender column. I will search for what? The gender column. Having found the gender column, I'm now going to move I'll click and drag. I'm going to drag. I'm not just clicking. When you're dragging things with your PC, so you click and hold. So I'm going to click and hold the gender, and I'm going to drag it over to legend. The legend. So I drag gender to legend. As always, I'll give you, let's say I'll give you 7 seconds to do that. Okay. So now that we've done that, what is the next thing? Remember, we want to see the gender distribution. So that means we want to count the number of patients we have in various genders. That's what we want to do. So what are we going to do? We'll come over to our data and we're going to search for patient ID, because patient ID is going to serve as our count. So every patient has an ID. So that means if I have 100 patient IDs, if I have one patient IDs, it means I have 100 patients. I repeat, if I have 100 patient IDs, it means that I have 100 patients. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'll drag the patient ID to values. Just beneath legend, you're going to find values. So Greg, if you cannot find legend on your screen, just click on your donut chart. So click on your donut chart, then you should be able to find legend under visualization or under build. So when you see these visuals at the bottom, you'd see legend. If you cannot see legend, ensure you've selected the donut chart. So for the values, I drag my patient ID to values and I'd wait a bit. I'd wait a bit. So you'd notice that our visual is already showing us the gender distribution. Fantastic. So now your supervisor does not have to count how many males or how many females or what, does not have to do all of that. They can easily see what the data is saying directly from the dashboard. The next thing we're going to do is to style this visual. But so we can save time, I've thought of a trick. So we can save time in styling our visuals, I've thought of a trick. And I'm sure you guys are interested in seeing my trick, or for me to tell you about the trick. Okay, I've thought of a trick. So what is the trick? We are going to duplicate these visual instead. You see this column chart that we have over here. We've already styled it. It looks nice, it looks good, it looks nice and sweet and all of that. So instead of having to spend time styling all of this from the scratch, it's very stressful. Okay, what are we going to do instead? I'm going to come over to my column chart. I'll click on my column chart. I'll ensure it is selected. I'll click on my column chart and then I'm going to duplicate it. How am I going to duplicate it? I'm going to be using magic. And what are the magic words? The magic words are Control D. Okay, the magic words are Control D. So you can either use Control D or you can use Control C, Control V. So Control C is to copy, and then after copying, then you use Control V to paste. Or you can just use Control D directly, and by using Control D directly, you are going to duplicate this. So you select this and then Control D. Oh, Control D doesn't work here. What happened? Okay, so Control D is not working for me. Maybe it's going to work for you, but it's not working for me. So instead, we're going to use Control C, Control V instead. Okay, so I'll select my visual, then I'll use Control C. First thing first, I'll use Control C. Can you use the format painter as well? Nice one, Maureen. Let's check that out. Nice one. So Maureen seems to be familiar with Microsoft tools, maybe Microsoft Word, Microsoft Sheets, those kind of things. They usually have format painter. So Maureen is asking, can we use format painter? Yes, we can also use format painter. So by clicking on format painter, I can come over here, select this, and I have this. Now, let me show you, for those of you that you don't know what format painter is, you probably didn't see what I did. I'll show it to you again. So Maureen, thank you for that suggestion. Okay, so what did Maureen suggest? Maureen asked, can we use format painter? And what is format painter? Format painter is a tool that is in, I think, probably most of Microsoft tools that helps you duplicate the style of something. It's how to duplicate the style or copy the style of something. So what I want to do now is I want to copy the style of this particular visual. Add column chart. I want to copy that style. So first and first, click on the column chart. That should be selected. After selecting it, then you're going to come over to Format Painter. You see Format Painter on your home icon, on your home ribbon by the left, just beneath your copy. So you click on Format Painter, and then come over to. How do you know you've clicked on Format Painter? Your cursor would now look like a brush, or that you're using brush in painting your houses. Then bring that brush over to your donut chart and select your donut chart, and you would see that you've copied the style from one visual and you've sent it to the other. And wait for 4 seconds so we can catch up. Okay, thank you very much. I think Matthew is very, very active today. Matthew and probably Maureen as well. Maybe there'll be a present for Maureen and Matthew at the end of the session. Okay, Alia wants, Afia wants me to try the Control C and Control V. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. So when you use Control C and Control V, you are literally duplicating your visual. So I can use Control C and Control V, and I have 2 copies. So I have 2 copies. So by having 2 copies, I can easily just make changes to this copy. So, either way works. Well, I think the format painter is probably faster than copying and pasting. So now that we have this, you'll notice that the slices of our donut chart and the legend did not take the style from our column. And that is because this is a column chart and this is a donut chart. So it can't take the column from a column. So we're going to have to do that manually. Now, what are we going to do? We'll select the donut chart. We'll select the donut chart and try to select it. How do you know it's selected? You're going to find little balls around it. When I say little balls, I'm referring to this cycle, like little cycle. You're going to find it around, excuse me? So you're going to find little cycles around the visual. That tells you you've selected it. Now that it has been selected, I'm going to come over to my format visual. For some of you, if you're on the same PowerBI version as me, you will see format at the extreme right. So you can just click on format and you're going to get these options. For some of you, that is not the case. You can't find format. But instead, what you need to do is under your visualizations panel, you're going to see something like a brush on a column chart. If you see it somewhere here, I'm sure you can see my cursor. You see it somewhere here, like a brush on a column chart. So click on that, and it's going to change these. It's going to change this panel. It's going to show you something like this, where you can see the size and the style, the title, the legend. That's how you do it. Now that we have that, we come over to slices. So I want to change the slices of my donut chart. I want to change what? The slices of my donut chart. So I'll come over to slices, expand it, and then I'm going to see color. I'll see what? I'll see color. Now that I've seen color, I'm good. Now good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to specify which of the slices, which of the slices do you want to change? Which of the slices do you want to change? So in this case, we're going to start with, we could start with, say, I'll expand color first of all. So I have my color expanded. And then we could start with this blue area. So I'm going to open up the all. I'll take it slowly so you follow me. Okay, this might be a bit tricky for some of us. So expand slices. They're going to see color. And at the top of color, you see something called apply settings to. Apply settings to, by default, is going to be all. That means that if I go ahead to change this color, for instance, it's going to change the color of both of all of the slices, and we don't want that. So I'm going to select all, and I'll select, say, I'm going to start with female. Let's start with female. And now you see that the female section is a light kind of blue. So I can go ahead and change the color for this particular section. I'll click on the drop down, and then I'll select more colors. You can select any of the colors you want from the standard palette. But if you were in my last session, you know ISA has a unique taste. So I'm going to go with more colors, and I'm going to use this color code. I'll send the color codes to the chat box for those of you interested in using the same color code is fine. If you're not interested, that's fine too. You can use whatever color you choose. But yeah, I love being extra. So that is it. So I've changed the color of one of my slices. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of the other slice. That is of the male slice. And the way we do that, give me a moment to get my color code. So the way we do that is that we're going to come over to the series where you have apply settings to. We click on the drop down. The drop down is currently on female. We click on the drop down, and then we select male, which is the other section. If you had a visual that had maybe multiple categories, more than 2, you're going to see all of the categories in there. So you can select each and every one of them. So I'll click on the color, and then I will change the color to this. We're one step closer, one step closer. Taking it one step at a time, one step at a time. And we're going to get to our destination pretty soon. The next thing I'm going to do, you'll notice that by the right, I have this dark, I can't see what's written there. I cannot see what's written there. And that's because the color is not in perfect contrast with the background. The color is not in perfect contrast with the background. So I'm going to change that. And how do we do that? I first of all collapse my slices. I collapse my slices. At the top of slices, I'll see legend. When I say collapse, I mean close. You're closing the part. You don't want it to. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean by collapse. So just collapse it. And then you see you have the legend at the top. See you have legend at the top. So I'm going to expand legend. What is legend? Legend is what helps you know what each section means. So with the legend, someone will be able to tell, oh, this is what the light beige, orange, whatever color this is what it means, and this is what the light blue, this is what it means. So I have my legend, I expand my legend, and then I'm going to expand my text. Under legend, you find text. Under the legend, you find text. So I expand my text, and the default color is grayish. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'll change it. And I'm just going to resize this. I'll wait for 6 seconds so everyone catches up. One more thing I'm going to do, or 2 things actually, but one of them is I want to take off this label. It's more like just a cosmetics thing. You don't have to take it off. Sometimes maybe the label is even great, so you know what each slice represents. But for this case, I'm just going to take it off because I don't like my donor charts just being small in the middle. So how do I do that? I'll check out the bottom, and I'm going to see detail labels. Detail labels at the bottom. I'll just turn that off. So I'll turn off detail label, and now my donut has more space to adjust. It has more space to adjust. Then the last thing we do for this visual is we're going to rename the title. The title currently reads Count of Patient ID by Gender. So I want to change that into something else. Maybe we'd say gender distribution, patient by sex, whatever you want to use. Okay, whatever you want to use is fine. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to find title at the top. For those of you on a different Power BI version, you might not find title on the same panel as you find your legend. So, but what you want to do is you want to click on properties. So when you click on properties, it's called properties or effects. Effects or properties, one of them. But you want to click on the next thing, and you'll see title in here. You see title in properties. So you want to do that, okay? But for the rest of you that have the same version as mine, let's come over to visual. You can find properties. You can find title. If you cannot find title, okay? If you cannot find title, click on properties. And you're going to find it here. You find it in this section. In the next section, it will be there. It's in one of these sections. If you can find it in the first one, check the second one. Okay? So, I can see my title now, so I'm just going to expand my title. And then the text, where I have text, I just wipe all of that out, and then I would say gender distribution. Okay, and we just readjust this. We're making progress. We're getting there. Our second visual has been completed. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. A round of applause. You guys are amazing. It's not an easy thing. Just look at you. Okay, give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself exactly. Okay. So we are done. Afia asks, can you choose any color, or it always has to mimic the back chat colors? You can pick any color of your choice. But when it comes to design principles, you want to try to stick with the same colors, just so your dashboard is not looking like something that was pulled out of I don't know the analogy to use now. Okay, but you're not restricted when it comes to colors. You can do anything you want. Okay, great. Moving on. The next thing we want to see is we want to create some sort of a table, but not a normal table. We want to create something called a matrix. But you know what? Maybe we should hold up on the matrix. I don't want you guys to get confused. So I would not show you the matrix right now, but rather I would show you the normal table first, and then I will show you the matrix so you can understand the difference between both of them, because there is a difference. So let's wait on that. We'll come back there. For now, let's use the scatter plot. And I'm trying to use as many visuals as I possibly can so you guys see how they each work. So let's use the scatter plot to check out the average improvement score by age group. We want to check out what? The average improvement score by age group. What does that mean? We want to be able to see if age affects the recovery of certain patients. We want to see if maybe there are certain treatments that are better for certain ages than others. This is insights that many assisted living facilities would find very, very fantastic. So that's what we want to do. And we're going to use a scatter plot to do exactly that. The scatter plot visual can be found in the fourth column, third row. Look, the fourth column, third row. So you find it here. It's called the scatter chart. For some of you, it might be called the scatter plot. Scatter plot, scatter chart is the same thing. So I'm going to select my scatter chart. And please, before you select any visual, ensure you are not selecting ensure that your column chart or your bar chart or your your column chart or your donor chart are not selected. Okay, you want to ensure that they are not selected so you don't end up editing those. So I'm going to select my scatter plot and it comes over here. What do I want to see in my scatter plot? I want to compare the improvement rate, the average improvement rate by age group. So what is going to go to my values? My value is going to contain my x-axis is going to contain the age group, and then the y-axis would contain the average improvement score. So I'm going to move my age group for my data panel, the age group. I'll drag the age group, I'll bring it over to the x-axis. And from the age group, you can see we already have less than 30, 31 to 50, and then you have 50 plus. This was supposed to be 50 plus. Remember, guys, when we created this, when we transformed that data last week, so we had a little bug that's, I don't know, the Power BI took out our plus sign and made it 50. There's a way we can turn this back to 50 plus, but if we have time, I'll show it to you, because we're going to have to do that in the table view. So if we have time, I'll show it to you, but if no time, we're just gonna have to work with this. Okay, but if we have time, I'll show it to you. So this is to make changes to which we're gonna have to come over here to make changes to this 50, 50, 50 to 50 plus, but that'll be later. So we have our age group on the x-axis. Then on the y-axis, we are going to move our improvement score. Improvement score will go to the y-axis. Age group, x-axis. Improvement score, y-axis. I'll give you guys 5 seconds to get it done. So moving on. Now that we have that, you might be wondering, Aisha, sir, how did you know that age group should go to the x-axis and improvement score should go to the y-axis? How did I know? Scatter plot works with similar features or similar metrics as your column charts. And back in secondary school, okay, back in secondary school, in high school, or maybe if you're a mathematician, maybe let's say you studied maths in the university, then you'd remember that your column charts, the values always go to the y-axis and the categories always go to the x-axis. The categories go to the x-axis and the values go to the y-axis. That is the same. Thank you very much, Afia. So that is the same thought process that you utilize when it comes to the visuals in Power BI. So the categories go to the x-axis, the values go to the y-axis. But this is not correct. This is not a correct value, because what we are seeing right now is sum of improvement score, and that is not what we want to see. We want to see average improvement score. Why don't we want to see sum of improvement score? Because sum of improvement score would not tell us what is actually going on. What's improvement score in the first place? Improvement score means it's between 1 to 10. It's rated between 1 to 10. It shows how well a patient improved after being on a certain medication. So that means you can have some patients that are 7.1. A patient could be 2.3. That means this patient did not improve at all. You could have some patients that say 5.9, on and on and on and on. Okay? So that means that if I want to know the average improvement score, if I want to know the improvement score of a group, summing it up would not give me the correct outlook. Because by summing it up, I'm going to get maybe 15. And improvement score is supposed to be between 1 to 10. So why am I getting 15? What does that mean? So I'm supposed to find the average of all of the various improvement scores in a certain age group. That way I can see that, oh, people less than 30 years, on average, they improve by 8.3. That means that for you, when you place a patient that is less than 30 on a certain medication, there's a 8.3, there's, let's say, an 80% chance that they're going to improve. Or 8.3 chance, or whatever language you want to use. Okay, so we're going to have to change this. And how do we change this to average? Watch closely. I'm going to come to my x-axis. Sorry, not my x-axis. I'm going to come to my y-axis. On my y-axis, I have sum of improvement. It's currently with sum of improvement. Just by the side of my sum of improvement in my y-axis, you'd see a drop down. You'd see what? A drop down. So I'm going to select the drop down. If you are in another Power BI version, by selecting that drop down, you'll automatically see average. Go ahead and click on average. For those of you on the same version as mine, when you click on that drop down, you see another pop-up that appears by the side. And on that pop-up, you're going to notice you have something called summarization. You'd notice you have something called summarization. And currently, the option that is selected is reads sum. So I'm going to click on this drop down and I'll select average. I'll select what? Average. Earlier, you notice that when it was sum, those with 50 plus and above, those where the age is 50 plus and above, you notice that they were the highest in terms of improvement. But now that I changed it to average, we see that the age group with the highest improvement are those between the ages of 31 to 50, having an improvement score of 7.21. And the people that don't improve so much are those less than 30 years, with a 6.85 improvement score. This could be due to many factors. maybe the fact that people less than 30, maybe they're not yet fully developed, their body is still not as strong, or whatever the case may be. But you get the drift. That is how this works. So we're going to go ahead to format visual, and we'll use the format painter just as Maureen showed us earlier. So we'd use the format painter. So I'll select any of my previously formatted visual, click on format painter, I'll come over here and I'll select this. Now that I've done that, there are some things I would like to bring back to my scatter plot. For my scatter plot, you notice that after I formatted the values, my y-axis got taken off. My y-axis labels got taken off, and I want them to remain. I want them to remain on my scatter plot. It helps the observer understand what's going on. Unlike the column chart where this still looks very good, you can see the scatter plot, it's difficult for you to know what's going on. So I'll select my visual, the scatter plot, and check selected. Then I'll come over to my format where I have all of my different styling options. And I'm going to search for y-axis. And open up the y-axis. And I'm going to search for values at the bottom. And then I'll turn on values. At the moment, the text it's currently up, but because the text is dark, we can't read it. So I'll expand my values, and I'll come over to this text, click on the drop down. I'm going to select my nice orange color. At the bottom of the values, I have title. I could turn this off if I want to, but in this case, I'm just going to change the color so we can read what's written. So this is average of improvement score. And then you don't need to do this if you don't want to, but I'm going to. That is, I'll come over to my x-axis. Now I'm done with my y-axis. So I collapse my y-axis, and I'll open up my x-axis, and then I'll search for the title, and I'll also turn on the title. I'll change the color, and I have this. Looks nice. So I'm just going to resize. I'll bring this here. Can we move on? Afia just noticed something, that those under 30s might not be taking their medication. Interesting. That could be the factor. They could not be taking their medications. So that means that it's now, from what the data is showing us, now calls for further investigation. So imagine you're speaking to your supervisor, you're in the meeting, you're like, so this is it. And from what we can see in the data, maybe there's foul play somewhere, there's something happening, and we should investigate. The data makes sense, unlike you just sending a spreadsheet. Moving on. The next thing we're going to do now is we're going to now use the table. I mentioned that we're going to use two visuals. We'll use the table, and then we'll use the matrix. I want you guys to understand the difference between the table and the matrix. What are we going to see on the table? The table is going to show us certain values side by side. The table is a visual used when you just want to compare lots of values. This case, we're going to be checking out the drug name, the condition, the average treatment duration as well. So I would insert my table. How do you insert a table? Come over to your visual and you're going to see table. You see what? Table. So I'll select table. Have my table right here. The table is relatively easy to use. All you have to do, just populate your values. I'd like to see the drug name. So where I have columns, I'm going to move drug name to columns, and I have all of the drugs listed. Easy, simple, just like that. The next thing that I'd like to see is that I want to be able to see every drugs and their conditions. Okay, amlodipine is used for what condition? Amoxicillin is used for what condition? Ciprofloxacin is used for what condition? Ibuprofen is used for what condition? On and on and on and on. So I'm just going to come over here and I will drag condition down to the column. You can just keep adding data. You can keep adding and adding and adding data. So with this, I can see that amlodipine is used for hypertension, at least based on the data. Please the table again, you didn't see it. Okay, so this is the table. My cursor is currently on it. That's it. So for me, it's at the fourth column, fourth column, fifth row. So it looks like a table. It looks like a calendar. So it looks like a calendar. So that's it. So just click on the table and you can drag all of the data you want to the column section underneath your visualizations. One more thing I would like to add is the average duration. So for these drugs, what's the average duration that people spend taking it? Do you put them on the drug for 30 days, 1 month, 1 year, 2, or is it something consistent? You know, there are some drugs that are pretty much lifetime, right? So the patients have to take it for life. So what is the case for these drugs? So we drag the treatment duration down to the columns. And just like what we did earlier for the improvement score, we're going to change this from sum of treatment because we don't want to see the sum. We want to see the average. So we're going to the same thing. Okay, what you did earlier, locate sum of treatment, click on the drop down and select average. Click on the drop down and select what? Average. And so we have the average number of days for each and every one of these drugs. And wait for 10 seconds. Average. You choose average when you're trying to get I would not say the true picture of things. Now let me give you this. Let me explain it as. Look at it this way. What can you use sum of treatments of days to? What point would you want to make with sum of treatment days? What point would you want to make with sum of treatment days? That's the question you always have to ask yourself. What point are you trying to make? Because with sum of treatment days, that means you've added all of the treatment days of all of the patients together. Well, is that really data you can use for anything? No, I don't think so. If you could use that data, then by all means use sum of treatment days. But what we are trying to do right now, at least in this moment, is that we want to know how many days do people usually take a certain drug for. And if you use sum, you cannot know the number of days people usually take a certain drugs for. You can't know that using sum, because some will give you thousands or 5,000, 20,000, because it's adding all of the treatment days of everyone. But when you use average, it shows you the average number of days people usually take those drugs for. So you can easily say, oh, anyone taking amlodipine, they usually spend 30 days taking that drug. I hope you got the drift. So that's what we're trying to do. So it's not like using sum, it's wrong. No, using sum is not wrong. It just depends on the situation. Okay. So moving on. Now that we have this, I'm going to format my pen. So I'm just going to click on this. Now format, and I have my table. Okay, I have my table, but I'm not done. This is not how I don't want it to. It's. I already have some of the. It already looks formatted somewhat, but I'm not satisfied just yet. I need to change those white. I can be having that on my dashboard, so I'm going to change all of that. So we start slow. I click on my table, ensure that the format section is selected. Then I'm going to look for column headers. I'm going to start with column headers. I want to change the headers, the colors of each and every one of these headers. That's the drug name, condition, average treatment duration. I want to change that. So I'll open up the values. Not values, sorry, column headers, and then I can see the text. The text color is currently dark. For the text color, I'm going to choose, I'm going to use this, okay, like more like a darkish kind of blue. So as always, I'll send the code. You can see some questions. My fingers are not showing for the sum of an average. So maybe delete the table, reinsert it. It should come up, Greg. So maybe delete the table and then reinsert and then insert the columns. So what you insert the columns. So the columns you are in, the data you are inserting into the columns as your drug name, improvement score, not improvement score, sorry, drug name, infection, and also the duration, the treatment duration. Along with average, can we add like a range? Range. So when you say range, what do you mean? You want to see if you could provide more explanation to what you mean by range on the chat box, that'd be great. Because I understand what you mean by mean and max. Oh, you want to check the mean and the maximum values. Sure, yeah, that's something that you can also do as well. For that case, most times you're going to use a filter. You use a filter, or better still, you could even use something called a CAD visual, which would also show, I would show you down the line. Okay, I'll show you the CAD visual as we go on. But yeah, you definitely 100%, 200%, you can check for mean and max. You can have your visual show the minimum value and the maximum value. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is the background color. I'm gonna change the background color of my header. I'm just gonna make it like a different shade of like more like like an ash white, something like that. And then I would increase the size of the text. I'd increase the size of the text to 14. It's currently at 10. I would increase it to 14. And I can make this bold. I make it bold. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to change the values, the background of each and every one of these values. So I would expand values. I have values over here. I'll expand values, and then I can see that the text color is currently dark. So I have four options. I have the text color, background color, alternate text color, alternate background color. So for the text color, I'll make this, can make this dark. I just use some of my existing colors, so I, we don't waste so much time. I'm gonna make this, I'll make this light, and then for the background color, I'd use this. Yeah. So what I just did, I'm just playing around with colors. Okay, so you can have fun with that, but don't have fun with it in a way that your dashboard would be hideous to look at. Okay, you don't want that. Okay, so I have my data, I have my visuals, everything is looking good. One more thing I should change, I'd also increase the size of this. Okay, maybe I can increase the size of this text. One more thing that I'm going to change is the total. At the bottom, the total is dark. So I'm going to search for totals. This is totals. Expand it. I'll make this my favorite orange color. If you look at the table, you notice that there's something missing, which is the title. The table does not have a title. So I would add a title. I'll turn on the title. The title is turned off for me. I'm sure we're already familiar with how to add titles. We've added titles like, I don't know how many times now. So I would speed run through this a bit. Okay, fantastic. So I'd open up my title, ensure it's turned on. Then I'll just type in drug table. I'm going to use drug table as my title. I'm using drug table as my title. Okay, so now that we have our table, I'm now going to show you what a matrix is. The next visual we want to use is called the matrix. And what do we want to see using the matrix? We want to see the number of, we want to see the distribution of side effects by gender. I repeat, we want to see the distribution of side effects by gender based off the kind of infection. Sorry, okay, we're not going to do infection right now. That'll be later. Let's stick with, we're going to check the number of side effects based off what? Based off the gender. So we want to create a matrix. A matrix is like, it's like you want to see, let's build it, then I would explain. Okay, I think that would be easier. Let's build it first, and I would explain what the matrix is, what it looks like, all of that. But let's build it first. So what I'm going to do is I'll insert my matrix. The matrix is next to the table. The matrix is next to the table. So I'll select my matrix, and I'll bring this over here. It looks like the table, but it's different. The matrix is asking for the rows, the columns, and the values. For the rows, I'm going to put in side effects. Side effects will go to the rows. For the columns, I'm going to put in gender. So you notice that the matrix is already taking shape. So I have side effects by the left, I have gender at the top. So now I want to be able to see how many females are affected by abdominal pain, how many males are affected by these side effects, and then allergy, the same thing, anxiety, the same thing, back pain, on and on and on. So the matrix helps give you that kind of visibility where you can compare two values and see the number of people and see the values that are affected by those two categories. Let me explain, put it this way so we don't get confused. With a matrix, you are able to compare two categories. Simply put, with a matrix, you are able to compare what? Two categories. Our other visual so far, we've been comparing just one category. The categories, for in this case, this was the side effect, this was the gender, this was the age group. Those are the categories. But in this case, we can compare two categories. We can compare the gender, and we can also compare the side effects. And then what we are using as our numbers, as the count, is the patient ID. So we're going to use patient ID in this case because we want to find out the number of patients that are females and the number of patients that are male that are being affected by each and every one of the side effects. So I'm going to drag the patient ID to values. I drag the patient ID to values. And you notice it seems like I have something a bit strange. I have P0056P. I have all of that. The reason for that is because the values currently read first patient ID. So it is showing us the first patient. The first patient in the female, the first patient in the male, and then the first patient when you add male and female together. We don't want to see that. What we want to see is the count of the patients. So we're going to click on this drop down and we're going to select count, not count distance. Okay, just count. We're going to select count, not count distance. Count distance means you want to count one patient as one. But in this case, we want to do something where if one patient is affected by abdominal pain and that same patient is also affected by allergies, we want to count that patient as two. So whatever you want to do, that's fine. But in this case, I'm going to use count. So with count, you can see abdominal pain, allergy, anxiety, back pain, and now we can see that 9 females are affected by abdominal pain and 4 males by abdominal pain. Are we still together? Medication sounds better. Yes, Afia, that's true. Because you know, in different parts of the world, if you live in the US, for instance, yeah, you want to when people say drugs, it usually refers to hard drugs. So medication is the word there, and then in other parts of the world, they use drugs. So whatever works for you, okay, ensure that you ensure you're using the right term. So now that we have this, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna format. So I'm going to copy the formatting from my previous table. I'm gonna use that on my matrix. Okay, so I use that on my matrix, and I have this, something like this. You could leave yours this way if you want to, but I'm not going to leave mine this way. I don't like it this way. I want to make changes. Yes, I know. I'm a perfectionist. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to bear with me. Okay, so I'm gonna make some changes to this. What I'm gonna do, first thing first, I'm gonna change the column. Or should I go with the rows? Okay, I'm going to change the rows. And when I say the rows, I'm referring to the side effects by the left. So I'll come over to the row headers. I'll come over to the row headers. Then I'll change. I'll first of all turn off the banded row color. So banded row color means I want this row to have the same color. Let me just show you what it does. I think that's, you see I think showing is easier than explanation in this case. So you can see what it does. So when I turn it on, it takes the same background as the others, but when I turn it off, it becomes a standalone. So I want it to be a standalone. So for the text color, I'm going to make the text color light, and then the background color, I'll make it dark. Be a bit darker. Okay. So yeah, I was filtering. So this looks 10 times better already. I'm going to reduce the size of the headers because I copied the formatting. You can it also copied the size of the headers to I think 13 or 14 pixels. So I'm going to reduce that. That should be on the column headers. On the column headers, I just make this 11. 11 is fine. 11 is fine, and then I'm going to make the background color dark. Make this light so it follows the same pattern. And then for the values, okay, so for the moment, for the values, the text color, make this light. I could make this a bit, say darker. Then the background color, make this light, and this is not so bad. Okay, and one more thing before I move on. One more thing would be the title of the table. So I'm going to say this could be side effects by gender. Great. So we have our matrix. So with our matrix, we can compare side effects and gender at the same time. We can compare up to 2 categories at the same time. We are almost rounding up. The one more visual. I'll be adding one more visual before we go into our KPIs. I'm just going to move all of this so we have some space. One more visual that we're going to be using is the bar chart. So with the bar chart, what we want to see is we want to see the average dosage by condition. Some conditions would require you to take more of a certain medication. Okay, some conditions would require you to take more of a certain medication or a certain drug, depending on. I know we have like so many people, people from different parts of the world on the call. So we want to check that out. We want to see what affects what condition requires maybe more dosage, less dosage, on and on. So I'll use a bar chart for this. I'll use a bar chart. And what will go into my bar chart? What will go into my bar chart? So I'm going to have my I'm going to have the condition. Yeah, so I'm going to have the condition go to the y-axis. So I drag condition down to the y-axis, and then for the x-axis, or for the x-axis, I'm going to drag in my dosage. So I should have dosage exactly milligrams. So I bring in my dosage to the x-axis, and just like that, I have my visual. As always, I can easily just copy, and I have my visual. I have my dashboard. Very, very easy, very straight to the point. So with this, I now have, in case you didn't see what I did. So what goes to the y-axis is condition, and x-axis is the sum of is the dosage. Okay, so what goes to the x-axis is the dosage. So I can see the condition. Oh, fantastic. I almost made a mistake. So right now we can see we have sum of dosage. Want to change that to average dosage. Again, same explanation as earlier. Sum of dosage, you can currently see 7,000. If you need it, fine, you can work with it. But in this case, what we prefer is the average. So we'll go with the average. So we go with the average. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I was wondering why I can find why the value at the top is not appearing. But anyways, that shouldn't be a biggie. That's fine as well. So just bring this back. Yeah. So now that we have that, we have just a couple of more things to do. Okay, so we're almost done. The next thing we're going to do now is I'm going to show you what we call the card visuals. Now, the card visuals in Power BI are used to show KPIs, metrics, things that you want your supervisor, for instance, to see. The first thing you want them to see when they open up the dashboard, numbers that matter, quantifiable metrics, numbers that matter. And there are various ways you can show a KPI. The way we're going to show the KPI in this case, we're going to use the card visual. So when you look at your visuals, you're going to see something, you're going to see a visual that has 1, 2, 3 written in the middle. So this is it. It's called the card. There's also another visual called the KPI, but we're not going to be using that because that requires some values, some kind of metrics that we do not have on this data set. So instead, we're going to be working with a card. The card is the easiest way to create KPIs when it comes to using Power BI. So I'll select my card visual. I'll select my card, not that. I'll select my card visual. I'll bring this over here. And I'm going to be using for some of you, that if you're on a different Power BI version, for you to do what I'm about to do, you might have to choose multi-card visual instead of the card visual. But if you're using my version, you notice there's only one card visual, and that is because the card and the multi-card have been fused together to one. What would we like to see? There are two metrics I feel are very, very important. If you feel there are other metrics that are important, of course, you can always have that. But in this case, we're going to be working with two. The two metrics we'll be working with includes the average treatment duration and the improvement score and the average improvement score. So to see those values, I'm going to drag my average treatment duration. That's my treatment duration. I'll bring that over to value, and I can already see the sum of the treatment duration. But of course, we already know we're going to convert these to average. So I have 32.38. That's the average treatment days for your patients. And one more thing I'm going to add to this value is the improvement score. So I'll bring the improvement score still to values, and then now I'm going to have two values. For some of you, like I said, for those of you on a different Power BI version, you might not be able to add two values to the same card. If that's the case, it's fine if you create another card and add the value to another card. That works. But if you want both values on the same card, select the multi-card visual instead. So I'll make the changes from sum of improvement score to average improvement score. And just like that, what I need to do now is also format this. I format this. And then, so we don't waste so much time, I'm not going to go ahead to completely design the insides, okay? I'm not going to go ahead to completely design the inside. I think you should be able to do that yourself already. So we're just going to leave this as is, and then we're going to go to the slicer. Now, what is a slicer? The slicer helps you filter your entire visual. The slicer helps you filter your entire visual, all of your visuals in your dashboard. So you could select something on your slicer, the entire dashboard changes. And it helps you focus on certain points. Maybe there's a patient you'd like to highlight. With the slicer, you will be able to do that. To insert your slicer, what you do, you come over to your visuals and you're going to find your slicer. The slicer, it has like a funnel on it. Okay, it sounds like a funnel on the. It's just look for anything like that has a funnel on it. Over around it, and it should read slicer. For me, it's on the third column, fifth row. Third column, fifth row. So this is what it looks like. In case I want you, look at my screen and check out where my cursor is currently moving around. So that is my slicer. So I select my slicer and I bring it over here. What would I like to filter my entire dashboard off? I want to filter my dashboard based off the kind of drugs. So maybe I want to be able to show the impact of a certain drug. Oh, this is how this drug is performing. This is how that drug is performing. This is how this drug is performing. On and on and on and on. So I'm going to use drugs. But does that mean I cannot use, say, maybe the condition? No, you can use the condition. You can use the drug name. You can use the gender, whatever you're going to use. But in this case, we're going to go with the drug name. You can also use the side effects. So I drag the drug name to field, and I'll see all of these drugs. Immediately, you'll notice when I click on any of them, the entire dashboard already begins to filter. Okay, the entire dashboard already begins to filter. So it filters and shows you values for that particular drug. So I want to see how is paracetamol performing. I can click on paracetamol and I can see that at the moment we have more males taking paracetamol than females. And we have that the paracetamol is used for rash, liver issues, and fatigue. Interesting. I never knew that paracetamol is that powerful. Okay, but that's what the data is telling us. So maybe that's an inaccuracy from the data, but that is what the data is telling us. Now, at the moment, the people say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. That's for the side effects. Okay, that's for the side effects. So this is correct. This is actually this correct data. So what we can, yeah, it's correct data. Apologies, I made a mistake. So yes, for paracetamol, what we can see is that the side effects of paracetamol includes rash, liver issues, and fatigue. And it is mostly taken by those that need pain relief. So the condition that, they are feeling one pain or the other. So they take paracetamol for pain relief. And we can see that paracetamol the improvement score for paracetamol is seen between the ages, the highest improvement score is seen between the ages of 31 to 50. People above 50 don't really benefit so much from taking paracetamol, according to the data. According to the data. And then we could also check out insulin, for instance. For insulin, we can see that insulin, of course, taken by those with diabetes, and we can see that the strongest improvement are those above and less than 30 years. And it makes sense because diabetes becomes even a major problem for the more the patient grows older, because now they have I'm sure you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying is that the data makes sense. So with this, you should be able to do your analysis and get things done. We also have ibuprofen, and you can also see the data in there as well. The most common side effects: stomach pain, heartburn, nausea. But we're not done. The next thing we're going to do now is I'm going to style my slicer. Of course, you did not think I was going to leave it this way, right? No, I wouldn't. Okay, so I'm going to style this. I will, first of all, I want to change the kind of slicer I have. So I'll come over to my slicer settings on my format page where I have my various styling options, and open up slicer settings, and I'll make this tile. First of all, I'll make it tile so I can bring this to this point, and then reduce the size of this. And the next thing I'll do is that I'll copy, I'll simply format. You know what? I'm not going to format. I'm just going to change the colors, and I will speed run through this. Okay, I'll speed run through this. So I just want to change some of the, like the background, for instance. So make the background. Moment. I'll make the background lighter. Okay, and then for the cards, that's the values themselves. I'll make this the background, just, and then one more thing, I'll give this a border on the size and style. The border, so we have a border already. Well, I can't see it. Okay, oh, the border color is that. So I'm going to make this was light. So I'll make it that. Now I can see it. Great. So resize this. One more thing which we have to do. Now, this is very, very important when it comes to any dashboard. Your dashboard must always have a title. People need to look at your dashboard and know this is what your dashboard is saying, that this is what your dashboard is trying to communicate, trying to pass across. So to add a title to our dashboard, I'm going to come over to my home ribbon, and I will search for text box. I'll search for what? Text box in my home ribbon. So I'll select text box. And then I'm going to type in, I'm going to give my dashboard, I'll give the a title. I would say patient treatment and outcomes, or maybe you could use medication table or whatever you want to use, it's fine. So I would increase my font size to say 40, or maybe we'll do 28. Let's do 28. So I'd say patient treatment and outcomes. So I can highlight the entire thing and also change the color, make this bold as well. And for the background, I'll make the background dark. Okay, maybe I'll make this 24 instead. Okay, so everyone, we've been able to complete our dashboard. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, I'm not going to start this. You can do that later on. But I'm going to show you something. I'll show you how to increase, how to rename this license. So currently it says average of improvement score. Maybe you want to change that to something else. Instead of average of improvement score, you want to make it average improvement score. So you come over to this value on the values, then you right click and you'd see something called rename for this visual. So I can click on rename for this visual, and then I'm able to rename this entire thing. So I can say average treatment duration, average treatment duration. I hit enter to save, and you can see it has changed. And then for the order, I can also rename, and then I'll make this average improvement score. Enter. We're good. So, everyone, I hope we're still together. I hope you're still excited. Just imagine what we've been able to accomplish in the past in 2 classes now. For many of you, you're already seeing yourself as data analysts, and surely you are. So I implore you, what you've learned right now, ensure that you go ahead and that you implement at work so you can begin seeing the differences. So you can begin seeing the impact of what you've seen right now is not, it's something that is very, very precious. Like I assure you, this can transform your life. And something that I'll also show you, because as a data analyst, remember the case study was about Sarah transforming, becoming, leaving, being a support worker to now being a health data analyst. But for you to be a health data analyst, is Power BI the only thing you need? For you to be a health data analyst, there are other things that you need to also take a look at. I'm referring to tools like, say, like your Excel, your Power BI, on and on and on. So look at this. There are different parts. You have the health data analyst and you have the data analyst. What we've just taken a look at is Power BI for a health data analyst, where you're working with health data and all of those things. But if you want to be just a data analyst, you're not looking at health, that's also possible as well. So as a data analyst, you can work in any organization, you can work in any industry of your choice. You do not have a limit. You do not have a limit. But for some of you, you're more interested in working as a health data analyst because most especially maybe you're trying to get, you're looking at sponsorship. You don't want to leave your current industry due to sponsorship or whatever the case may be, then that's fine, because you can also go with the healthcare data analyst. When you're a data analyst, that is an expert when it comes to health-related data. For you to be a data analyst or for you to be a healthcare data analyst, the things that you need to know how to solve problems. Very, very important. Because just like Sarah, after presenting to your supervisor might ask you questions such as, okay, what do you feel we should do now? Do you have any plans? So you need to be able to solve problems. It is not enough as a data analyst to just go ahead and say, oh, you know what, I can build dashboards. No, you need to be able to solve problems. A data analyst is someone that can analyze data to help make informed data-driven decisions. There is no place in the definition of a data analyst that says a data analyst is someone that can build dashboards. No. So you need to know how to solve problems. Then you need to learn how to use Excel. Very, very important. Then you need to learn how to use SQL for your database manipulation. So SQL is a database language. Then you have Power BI, the Tableau. You need to know how to tell stories using data, your ChatGPT for analytics, and also your Microsoft Fabrics. All of these things I've mentioned are very easy to learn. I'm sure in the past 2 classes now, you've been so surprised. Is this a tech that people have been saying is difficult? Is this the tech people have been saying is difficult? It's not. As long as you have the right teacher, you can do anything. I repeat, you can do anything. So think about it. Look at what you've been able to accomplish in just 2 days. And imagine what you can accomplish if you're given more time. Hence the reason why you should be looking at being a part of our sessions. That's a session that happen. You have your classes you have your classes for those in Europe or in UK, parts of Africa, or for those in Canada and the US as well. Where if you're in the UK or you're in Europe, usually your classes are going to be on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time. And then if you're in Canada or you live in the US, you're looking at your classes being between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And of course, you are not just going to be going to classes alone. No, You are also expected to go through what we call the self-paced watch me do it videos, because these videos would help you work on even more case studies, help you gain even more confidence, and help you become even more of an expert. So your path to becoming a healthcare data analyst is smooth. So you have your live classes, you also have your videos on the analytics LMS. And the learning timeline, you get to learn for 8 months. When you learn, so you get to learn for 8 months, 6 months of intensive learning in class, and 2 months of internship. Imagine, see what you've learned in just 2 classes. Imagine what you can learn if you are going to classes and watching your videos for the next 6 months, and then you have another 2 months of internship. Absolutely fantastic, if you ask me. And this is one of our students. I want you to listen. So you don't seem like, oh, you're just hearing it from me, but rather I want you to learn I think you probably can't hear my. Just give me a moment to share audio.
So just doing a short video testimonial on how.
Okay, so just listen to one of our students. So this is Brad. Barnett, and just listen to what he has to say.
10 analytics course in data analytics. So just doing a short video.
Just give me a moment. I think yeah, apologies about that, everyone. So we'll just take that again. Yeah. You should be able to.
Hello, so my name is Glenn Barnett. I just finished the 10 analytics course in data analytics. So just doing a short video testimonial on how everything went. So how did I hear about you guys? I heard about you through my wife, and it was a friend of hers had told her about somebody who did the course and had gotten a job through the course, so she had recommended it. And both my wife and myself signed up for it together and did the course together. Course learning experience was all in all very good, satisfactory. Definitely learned some new skills, useful skills. Still not sure how I'm going to use them going forward. I'm currently in work on available. It's worthwhile looking into. It can be helpful.
So the link has also been added to.
Hello,
this.
So my name is Glenn Barnett. I just finished the
link has also been added to this.
Taking the course or learning something
slides. You're gonna get access to
like data analytics or any of the other courses available. It's worthwhile looking into.
So many testimonials.
It can be helpful and it can be useful as a stepping stone to get to the next stage of where you want to get to. And yes, all the staff were very helpful. They responded very quickly to any questions I had. Yeah, so the staff were very helpful on your journey, and yeah, if you want to learn, definitely the opportunity is there to learn with the help of the staff. So all in all, very good, and I would recommend this to anybody else who's interested. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So, I think someone is.
Hello, so my name is Glenn Barnett. I just finished the
so I'm just gonna mute you.
10 analytics course in data analytics. So just doing a short video testimonial on how everything went. So how did I hear about you guys? I heard about you.
Okay, yeah. So Barnett is one of our participants, and you've got to listen to how amazing he thinks the program is. And of course, we would have gone through more testimonials, but we don't have all day. We did not have all day on the call. So, but yeah, we've been able to help so many individuals. Over Ikmat as well. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom in the UK, and we helped her land the job as a healthcare data analyst after she completed our program. We don't have the time, but when you get access to this slide, just click on this link, and you're going to be able to listen to ICMAT. You're going to be able to listen to ICMAT just like you listen to Barnett, tell you how we helped her transition. ICMAT got 2 job offers after completing the program. And this was after she was a stay-at-home mom for how long? I think for about 2 years. Okay, and we were able to help ICMAT land a job. So yeah, ICMAT was a full-time stay-at-home mom with a 2-year employment gap. 2-year employment gap. And she moved to the UK for a master's in public health, right? And then she decided that she was going to join the Analytics Data program. So this was after she consulted us. She had a conversation with one of our staff to know, okay, this is my situation. This is what I'm looking to do. Is there any way Analytics can help me? And of course, that was when we recommended the Analytics Data Analytics program to her. And she went to that program. And as January 2024, she landed an information analyst role with the NHS. Okay, with full visa sponsorship. And this was when we got like a reference, because of course, as long as you're a Analytics participant or an alumnus with Analytics, when you need a reference, we are always going to provide a reference for you. We provide a reference for you. So these are screenshots of the reference that we provided her when the NHS reached out to us regarding ICMAT, and that's ICMAT is looking to we want to bring it in ICMAT as a health data analyst, information analyst, and we you worked with her before. Is she amazing? Is she someone we should bring in? And you can be rest assured that you're going to get a fantastic reference letter from us. We don't have the time again, but please, when you get the slides, listen to ICMAT, watch the full interview that we had with her as well. Also, the testimonial that she created on how she was able to make that transition. Okay, so what do you have to do? You just have to go ahead and you have to join the next cohort. The next cohort is going to begin July 4th. I'm sure you've enjoyed the last two classes you've had. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what you get when you're a part of the Analytics family. Remember, I mentioned at the start of the session that what we do is that we make dreams come true. And as long as you say, you know what, I want to depend on Analytics, we will make your dream come true. The next squad begins July 4th. And so you want to ensure that you jump on that wagon as soon as possible. And to get into the program, all you need to do is just to go ahead to register. So the amount for the program is $1,250 for the 8-month program, $1,250. But the fantastic thing about this right now is that there is a discount currently running. Only for the first 100 people to register. And this was made due to the people we have on the call right now and the number of and the training that we've had for the past 2 weeks now. So you want to see how you can get into that quickly so you don't end up paying the full amount of $1,250, but you can pay $1,000 instead. And you can click on this link to make payments, and I'll show you how to do that. The great thing about payment is you can also break this down into installments. So maybe you can't make the full payments at once. That's totally fine. So you can also break this down into installments. Get started with $200, with at least $200, and I'll share my screen and I'll show you what the payment platform looks like. A moment. So my colleague has also just shared the link for you to make payments to the chat box. Okay, so please click on that link. Yeah, so while I try to, okay, fantastic. It should be in now. Yeah, so once you click on that link, it's going to bring you over to the Analytics storefront. That's the page where you can go ahead to make payments. And this is what you get to see. Trying to. Apologies, everyone. I'm kind of having some glitches. Okay, yeah. So this is what you get to see. You're going to see this page. Okay, you're going to see this page. And then when you scroll down, you can decide to talk to a career coach or you can take a career quiz. But I'm sure that for the most of us, what we're interested in, you've seen how easy it was for you to learn Power BI. So you're probably ready to go into data analytics. You already have something that you can even start testing out this week. You don't even have to wait for the program to end. You can already begin working as a data analyst. Start watering the ground in your workplace for that big step up that you're about to get. So once you come over here, you can decide to talk to a career coach, take a career quiz. But once you scroll down, you see the various programs that we are offering. So let's say you want to be a health tech analyst. So you click on the health tech analyst, and then and then you can read more about the program. You see various things about the program. You can also download the brochure. When you download the brochure, you can have like a great read about what the program is all about. You see what you'll be learning, and then you can scroll all the way down. You can scroll all the way down, and you can see, your instructors, those that will be ensuring that you are getting the absolute best in your program. And then you can click on enroll now. Okay, so it's going to ask you to sign in. So you go ahead and then you create an account. You go ahead and then you create an account. For those that don't have an account in analytics, or maybe if in the past you've already created an account in analytics, you can just rather click on this, already have an account, login. But if this is the first time you're getting to the page, so you can easily just click on Google and create an account using Google. That works perfectly fine. For my case, I already have an account. So I'm going to click on login, and my details has already been filled. So I'll click on login, and then I should get into, okay, so no problem. Try that again. All right, then. So now I'm logged in. So once you create your account, you'd see this. You'd see that the July cohort is starting, I think, next week. Next week is the 4th. And then you have the August cohort, which is going to begin a month from now. So and then you have your payments plan. Now, you can decide to make a single payment. Remember, the discounted amount for the program right now is $1,000. So you can make a one-time payment of $950. That is if you are making a single payment under the best value plan. There are 3 plans. There's the best value, the smart choice, and the flexible choice. If you're going with the best value, you get to pay $950 immediately. That means you are getting an extra $50 off. And what you'd also get in addition to the program is that you're going to be getting your CV reviewed and revamped. Your LinkedIn will be optimized. You're also going to get a full job application service after the first 3 months of starting the program. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have people that will be applying to these jobs on your behalf. While you are focused on learning, we're ensuring that, okay, you're focused on your learning, you are getting the skills you need. And while you're doing that, you're going to have people, you're going to have agents dedicated to ensuring that you are landing a job. So jobs will be applied to you on your behalf. You'll be receiving interview prep invites. And when you receive an interview prep invite, you would also be prepped for the interview. I repeat, if you go ahead, what things that you'll be getting under the best value plan, you get your CV reviewed and revamped, your LinkedIn is optimized, you also get a full job application service after the first 3 months of joining the program. Remember, the program is for 8 months, 6 months of learning, 2 months of internship. So after the 3rd month, jobs will begin to you begin to apply to jobs. People will begin to apply to jobs on your behalf. So all you're just doing is you're focused on your learning. You also get interview prep specialists, like I mentioned, and integration into the founder's cycle. All of this You also get weekly mentorship, where week in, week out, you join a session where you are told, where you get to learn from industry experts, people that have been able to accomplish what you are looking to accomplish. Because the reason why a lot of us are not able to achieve our goals is that there's no one to guide you. There's nobody that has done what you like what you want to do that can tell you that, oh, this is the way you go about it. Do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. Because you need that, right? When you're trying to do something new, you need someone that will guide you, that would say, oh, I've done this in the past. I've gone there and I know what is there. So this is how you're going to go about it. Don't move to the left. Move to the right. When you move to the right, you're going to see this. If you see it, don't do it. If you think all of those things. So you are mentored weekly. Because when you are mentored, it ensures that if it was supposed to take you 2 years to transition, because of the mentorship you're getting, it would take you 6 months, less than 6 months even, 3 months, and you're already getting jobs. And then if you decide that, oh, you know what, I don't want to go for the best value of paying $350 immediately, how about I go for the smart choice? With the smart choice, you're going to be saving up to 20%, where you can break it down into $500 each, and then you get to pay in 2 monthly installments. So your first installment of $500, you get to make that payment, and then 1 month after, you get to make the second payment. When you go ahead and you go for the smart choice, what would you be getting? You'd also be getting full job application service after the first 3 months. The 2 guaranteed interviews, you get 2 guaranteed interviews. We're guaranteeing you that you're going to get 2 interviews. Amazing, right? And then, of course, the CV review and revamp, your LinkedIn optimization, interview prep specialist, integration into the founder cycle as well. And then if you decide, you know what, I want to go for the 5 installments, maybe at the moment you're not really able to go for the first installment or for the second installment, you can break this down into 5 installments, 5 times. Now, the 5 times, that's the flexible choice. With a flexible choice, you get to pay $200 each month for the next 5 months till your payment is completed. And you'd also be, getting the full job application service, but you will be getting the full job application service after 5 months. I repeat, the first one, that's the best value. You get the full job application service after 3 months. Same with the smart choice, but for the flexible choice, you start getting the full job application service, where people will be applying to jobs on your behalf after 5 months. And of course, you have your 2 guaranteed interviews, your CV reviewed and revamped. You have your LinkedIn optimization. You also have your interview prep specialist and your integration into the founders cycle. So you select any of the plans you're looking to go with, and then you confirm that your information is correct. And then you can also read the terms and conditions. Ensure you read the 36 terms and conditions, very, very important. And then you accept that I've read the terms and conditions, and then you can go ahead to make payment. So once you make payment, you will now then get access to the 1096 LMS, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so once you make payment, you're going to get access to 1096 LMS. So you come over to the website, and then you're going to see sign in here. So ensure you sign in, or you can see dashboard for as myself after you've signed in. So you can click on the dashboard, and then you will see this. Now, 10 Analytics registering for the 10 program comes with a lot of benefits, even beyond what I've mentioned. Everything I've mentioned so far, you will get even more. What do I mean? By registering with the 10 program, we've been able to partner with CV Matchly. I don't know if you're familiar with CV Matchly, but CV Matchly is a platform that helps ensure that your CVs are tailored to every job you're applying to, and that is done very, very quickly. When applying to jobs, it is very, very important. It is very, very important that you're tailoring your CV to every job you're applying to. If you're using one CV to apply for 100 jobs, that is very, very wrong. It's very, very unlikely you're going to get jobs that way. And tailoring your CV can cause, it takes a lot of time. I'm sure we all know it takes a lot of time. So what CV Matchly does for you is that it helps you revamp your CV on the spot, tailoring it to that job description. And so getting into the analytics program, you get access to the CV Matchly for 3 months completely for free. No extra payment, nothing. You don't need to pay any extra payment. You get it completely for free, and you can, click on try it out now, and you see how to use it. So on the analytics LMS, over here you have your classrooms. So you have your classroom. On your classroom, you have like your various, you see your classes. So this is like the health tech morning class from the December cohort. So you can see your announcements made by your class coordinator, your data associate, the resources that are uploaded to resources. So this is a test, that's why it's empty, but you get to see the resources that are uploaded to your class. You get to see your assignments. You get to see your assignments in here. You also get to see your recordings, the recordings of each and every one of your classes. Every one of your classes are recorded, because we know sometimes, you're very, very busy. We are adults, right? And so you have to go to work. You have to do a lot of things. So you might miss a class. What then happens if you miss a class? If you miss a class, you have access to the recording. So you can always come here and you'd see all of your recordings listed, and you can watch any of the recordings. In addition to your classes, you also have your watch me do it videos. Your watch me do it videos ensure that you are actually getting what you are actually learning at a great pace. The way the program is structured is that you get access to watch me do it videos, and you also get access to your live classes. The watch me do it videos are pre-recorded videos that you get to watch that introduces you to certain concepts that you'll be learning. For example, this is an Excel. This is one of the Excel videos. Now, this was taken by FMina.
We have clean and value function. We have trim. We have substitute.
So you can,
we have so many things.
The sound. So fantastic, and you get to learn from each and every one of those videos. So you watch these videos before your class. So during your class, you're with your facilitator. Your facilitator also works on even more additional case studies for you. You do not get this anywhere else. So you have so it doesn't matter the kind of learning that you prefer, because you have the videos and you also have the live classes, and they both work hand in hand for you to get the absolute best from the program. But we don't even stop there. I believe at this point, you're pretty much tired of listening to all of the values that you're going to get from analytics. But that's it, because we're very, very much interested in your success. Like I said, what we do is that we make dreams come true. And we've put things in place to ensure that that is the case. So in addition to everything that I've mentioned so far, you also get exclusive access to premium jobs. What do I mean by premium jobs? When you come over to the job tracker, you see something called the job tracker by the right. When you come over to job tracker, you are going to see jobs, exclusive jobs that are uploaded to the platform every week. Now, these are jobs you usually don't get elsewhere, because what we do is that we have access to some premium platforms where we get all of these jobs and we get to present it to you guys. So you are getting access to premium jobs you won't find on LinkedIn. And so you can always come here weekly and you'll see jobs related to the program you're registered for, and you can click on any of the jobs. So you can click on apply now for this, for instance, and this is going to open up the page where you can go ahead to apply to that job. And when you're applying to that job, don't forget, when you're applying to that job, for instance, so this is a job from an Agile project manager role, okay, in Livonia. So once you get this, as you're applying, don't forget you also have CV Matchly that would help you revamp your CV to this particular job, and then you get to apply. So everything has been put into place from step 1 to step 10 or step infinity to ensure that you do land the jobs. And that's not all. There's also this CV review platform which helps you revamp your CV. This is different from CV Matchly. I talked about CV Matchly, that CV Matchly helps you revamp your CV tailored to the job description. So CV Matchly works as an extension. I don't know if you're familiar with browser extensions. If you're not familiar with it, don't worry, we'll teach you about all of that within internal analytics. But aside from that, you also have access to the CV review, where you have agents, and when I say agents, I really mean agents that are going to work on your CV. So you can decide, you can upload your CV, decide on the particular role you want. What role do you want? What role do you want your CV to be tailored to? What role? How do you want your CV to be reviewed? Many of us right now, our CVs are nothing to write up about. So the very first thing you're supposed to do once you join the 30s program, you review your CV. You review your CV, you come over here, you select what role do I want. So am I looking for a procurement analyst, a logistics analyst, a benefits analyst? You select any of them of your choice, the role that you're searching for. Okay, so after selecting the role, then the next thing you insert, you can also, if you don't find the role you're looking for, you can also just type it out. Then you can select if you're interested in tailoring your current CV to this sector, yes or no. Insert your LinkedIn URL, your GitHub profile if you have one, because it's also very important that you have your portfolio. And we're going to teach you how to create a fantastic portfolio at Analytics. See, Analytics, we feed you, we ensure that you're overfed. Okay, so we also ensure that you have your portfolio. So you can add your portfolio in here and you can click on submit. And once you do that, agents will work on your CV, and then your CV will be sent to you via email. You would receive two kinds of CVs. The first CV you would receive is a CV that is tailored to ATS systems. So ATS systems can read your CV and ensure that your CV passes through those ATS platforms. Because when people go ahead to apply for jobs, many times you have ATS. Because when people go ahead to apply for jobs, many times you have an ATS that first of all does the first filtering before it moves over to the recruiter. Okay, so we ensure that you scale through the ATS system. That's what the first CV we do. And then the second CV is a CV that maybe you just want to send it to someone. There's another CV for that. So you get two CVs. And those CVs that you get, that's what you're now going to start revamping or tailoring to the numerous jobs that you've been applying to using CV matching. Tell me, where else are you going to get all of this? Absolutely nowhere. So if you know that you've not registered, then trust me, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go ahead to make payments right now. You can get into the best value, the smart choice, or the flexible choice. Any of them is fine. You can go with the flexible choice, pay $200 right now, and pay in installments. So you're done with the program. And guess everything we're giving you, everything the full job application service, a two guaranteed to you, guarantee that's our mission. And there's something else we need guidance, okay? Because when we're late, we need someone to teach us. Even after your class on Saturday, Monday to Friday, you can go ahead to book a drop-in session. What is a drop-in session? A drop-in session is a session where you can get to talk about the issues you're having. Maybe you're having an issue with a particular tool. You can share your screen. You can tell the facilitator that, oh, this one I'm having an issue, and they're going to help you fix it. So you can book a drop-in session in the morning, the afternoon.